So let's talk about quick searching. And quick searching here, what I'm talking about is this box. We'll start with LinkedIn. We're going to search for both individuals and companies here, remember? But this box, Google's got it, right? One search box, Facebook. So does LinkedIn, all right? So there's times to use it and times not. Do you think we're going to use it more often than not? You're wrong. Good, that was a trick question. We're going to go right to the advanced search tools usually. We're not going to start with the big box that throws everything together. Tom Smith Automotive, and Tom Smith's been dead for 100 years, but Tom Smith Automotive is out there, and when we search for Tom Smith, we find it because everything is a keyword. When we use this here, it searches everywhere in somebody's profile. And if someone says, I hate BMWs, and we put in BMW, guess what? You love BMWs now because you say BMW and that's what we're going to find. These filters don't work too well. But this filter right here, this box, is used when we get really granular as the keyword field. Okay? You won't find any, and it doesn't say keyword. You just got to know it. You need me here to tell you, Bill. Keyword field. Okay? Let's talk about a specific person. So you got a business card, or someone left a voicemail. You were referred to someone in a conversation. We got a name. That's all we got. And if we've got an uncommon spelling, that's kind of easy, right? Okay. Just make sure you get it written down right? Miss a little couple C's or in Bocciolarini out there. You miss an N or an R or an L or something and you get nothing. Okay, so that's one thing. Otherwise, though, if you've got a common name, you got to go a little further. Okay, maybe add some more criteria, right? And these are the ones I recommend. How many Robert Smiths are there in Denver? Quite a few. How many Robert Smiths at Statera? Any? You got one? How many at CenturyLink? Big long list, right? So this helps, right? So that's if we know someone, and you had the business cards, right?
I already put them away.
Who's got business cards?
There you go, fresh off the press.
It could be your cards. It's okay. All right, Mike. There's a Mike Volpe, VOLPE, in the social media world. And when I saw your name, I thought I was misspelling it all along. He works for Statera.
I spell it right.
When you live your life with an apostrophe in your name, life is hard with an apostrophe. The DMV gets it wrong. I am O-Neil in some government databases, and they can't fix it. We're not allowed to fix a key field. Anyway, all right, so we talk about, if we had a business card, that's what we would have done. We would have taken the data, first name, last name, city, whatever we can, to find somebody. And you're always going to find someone if you got a business card. You really are. I mean, it's almost impossible not to find someone with a business card. You can dig a little deeper. What's that?
So they're not out of style.
As soon as I speak that, there'll be an exception to that rule here. So let me take that back. So we're going to have a little fun here. This is LinkedIn.com now, okay? This is LinkedIn.com. I'm going to show you how to search in the LinkedIn.com area. We're going to get a Navigator first. We got to kind of move from one to the other. You have a question?
We're going to go into LinkedIn, not Navigator.
We want to here. Let's get all tuned up here because we will be diving in. Let's get a LinkedIn.com and a Sales Navigator tab open side by side. If possible, that you can use Google Chrome, you will want to do that because we're going to be installing some tools later today, some tools that are only Google Chrome tools. So you will be happy, for example, to run the Google Chrome tool in Google Chrome. Try it in something else, right? Just no go. And I can't explain why that is. So here we go. So we're just essentially going to go. Watch this here. So this is getting to the advanced search in LinkedIn.com. Follow me here, okay? Search, people, all filters. Let's go back, okay? Search, okay, hit the word. It drops down people, then all filters over here, and it takes us to our nice advanced search screen. There is a nice advanced search screen in LinkedIn now. It's like it used to be. It really is. It's pretty nice. Okay? We're not going to use it much because we have Sales Navigator, but if you didn't have it here, okay, and there's times where you want to do things over in LinkedIn as opposed to Snav, as we say. All right? So here's the top of it, and it's just a tall screen. You got a top and a bottom. Okay? This is kind of how it used to be, but you know, you'd look here and you go like, where's my zip code filter? Oh, it's not there. Where's my company size filter? It's not there. So when they did this redesign, some folks kind of liked it because it looks like their phone and all I get to click on icons. But they took away some things that were really bad and deadly and very much needed. All right? So if we don't know who we're going after, okay, we don't have that business card and stuff, what we're doing is we're essentially going to filter. We're going to target the LinkedIn database. This is getting really juicy here. Okay. In LinkedIn.com, this is kind of what you're looking at. All right? And keywords and skills are in the same filter, that one at the top. They're the same. These other ones have their own animals here. Okay? Let's go through it just a little bit. Okay? LinkedIn.com. All right. So we only get 11 filters. Okay, there used to be 20. Sorry. One of the most important ones is, are we connected or not? Okay, we're connected. Remember all those things we can do when we're connected? We can endorse, we can message, we can email, we can. There's like 7, 8 things we can do. Okay, or not. All we can really do is invite in mail. Okay. So there, in a lot of cases, engineers know this. Who's an engineer? A bit. If you do things in the wrong order, you can do all the right things, right? But if you do them in the wrong order, it doesn't always come out so well, right? So I got it. It's in the config sys file, but it's not at the top. So it doesn't display the driver for the drive it needs to do the next command or so, right? So there's something like that here, okay? And I discover a lot of things in the LinkedIn world that are, user interface errors. Okay, you should design better software so I don't have to complain about it. Okay, keywords. You always, and I'll point out here, keywords at the top. I'm doing Internet of Things. Okay, this is an actual search I did. So let me play this scenario. I'm into IoT. I'm an engineer. I'm an industrial engineer. I used to play with stuff. Got my first job out of college because I was the only applicant who had opened up an IBM PC and could tell you what's inside. What's inside an IBM PC? Your ringers here. What's inside an IBM PC, Tracy? That would have got you the job. That's all I had to say to get the job. 200 applicants, hard getting a job in '83, and so and behold. But I knew the right order of things. I knew the right things. If I'd answered the wrong question here or there, it would have been the wrong thing. But Internet of Things is kind of like early networking. The things used to be PCs. Now the things are anything you can measure. Okay. So, but this story here is there's an Internet of Things event in Minneapolis. It was May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and I attended 2 days of workshops with dip switches and software and ACK commands and all, and 1 day of kind of presentations. Okay. So I actually did it. I found 450 folks in the Twin Cities that fit my criteria that had Internet of Things in their profile. Certain seniority levels at certain companies, company size. I set my filters. Of the 3,000 people in the Twin Cities connected to my network, 450 had Internet of Things. And I think I went Internet of Things or IoT, actually, into it. So this is a real example. Now, you got to put your keywords in first here, and this is why I mentioned what I did about this config sys file. As soon as you put in keywords in these searches, it blanks everything else out. So you can put in all your wonderful stuff and say, I'm going to add a keyword. And then start all over again. Because it blanks all of the other fields out. It's a bug. It's a bug. So if you're doing searches in LinkedIn.com, just do your keywords first. Okay? So then we get to a few other things. Titles matter. Titles really matter to these guys here. Who else was in HR? HR? HR, we have all three HRs? HR? Recruiting, okay. All right. In the regular world out there, we equate them.
Oh, okay.
You know, they're kind of like,
Won't let me in HR.
there's a series.
There's good reason for that.
You're out of here. You're not allowed. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. Check the website and see if there's a job listing, right? Okay. This is where we're going to get into Boolean. And what we learn here are these Boolean commands and phrases on job titles we can use elsewhere. Okay, they can be used with skills and stuff. I'm just teaching the lesson on job titles, all right? So here we go. Our quick little Boolean lesson goes back to 8th grade. This is called set theory, right? Is it striped and spotted? Or striped or spotted? Okay, it's really basic stuff, all right? It gets kind of complicated when you get into not commands. All right, I'm going to take you down the not command route. All right, see how this works? I'm just going to go like a movie, right? Or, and, we do an and. Oh, we got phrases now, right? All right, phrases. This is really basic coding, right? Okay, then we get into nots. Okay, so I'm going to take actually a really good moment here, maybe 2 minutes, okay, to talk about what we get in searches and not commands and how to take advantage of them. So I work a lot with business owners of companies that are under 200 employees. Your target market in the days past, before you got to be this big monolithic super $1 million, $10 million account sort of company. Cetera used to work with smaller companies, right? You start with smaller companies, you start working with bigger ones, and I work with them. And in this case, we work with presidents, vice presidents in some cases, but mostly CEOs, business owners, long phrase of stuff. In fact, here we go. So something like this, all right? All right? But we found out that there's retired people that get caught up in our searches. There's assistants to the president that get caught up in our searches. Not retired, not assistant, not student, not. We'll now have 10, 15 not commands after a while in the searches and stuff we do for clients because we see things out there. So have you heard of we heard of the alternative board, right? The alternative board, they do peer advisory boards. One of their competitors is Vistage. Not Vistage. Okay, we added that in the last 6 months or so for them because some of their competitors, we actually log into their account and send messages for them, do campaign work for them. Okay, the Boolean for them is like big, long, fat stuff. All right, so it gets copied and pasted. We don't write it here. Write it elsewhere so you can see it all. Try it out. Oh, I want to try it out. Oh, I want to try it out and get it right because you can only go so far here. You can't control minus this down to see it all, if you know what I mean. You just can't shrink it down. All right, so the next level of filtering, and by the way, these filters that I'm talking about with LinkedIn.com here, the strategies with them, all of these strategies apply to Sales Navigator as well. Okay, don't think we got to relearn these when we get over there. I'm just teaching them on this platform here because I'm going to show you the deltas, the new things you only get with Sales Navigator in a moment. Okay, these apply to both. All right, so you've got industries. Okay, industries is one of your best filters. Everyone has one industry. You pick it on your profile. Can't have two. Can't have zero. Okay? So in a data world, that means it's mutually exclusive. If you divide up all 500 million LinkedIn users into 147 industries and summed them up, you didn't leave anybody out. Okay? Nobody's missing. There's plenty of filters on LinkedIn where you check all the boxes and lots of people are left over. They don't apply to any of those boxes. A company size filter, for example. 30% of the people out there have no value at all. They might work for Ford Motor Company, but they didn't fill out their profile right. So they don't show up that way. All right. Industries are one. So industries in LinkedIn.com just show you five of your most recent searches out here, okay? Which may be good, but there's 147 of these suckers, okay? And you can just start typing them in. And in the case of computer here, there's a bunch of computer ones, okay? Computer hardware, computer software, computer networking, computer blah, blah, blah. There's a couple IT ones, information services, information technology, okay? So I've taken them, and what I'll share with you on our shared file here is the 147 industries that we've got categorized: manufacturing, transportation, medical, marketing, business services. So they're grouped together. The technology one has wireless way down in the W's and C's up here. You scroll through a list of 147 things for a while, you get kind of dizzy. We do this for a living. So it's my job to do this, okay? Took me years to categorize them, all 147 of them. Also, what I've done, and this is where you might, if you've got a camera or something here or so, you might want to take this shot or just remember this, okay? I've taken the 147 industries that LinkedIn has, and I put them right here, okay? So you can see the links to them. You can see the list of them. Starts with accounting, ends in warehousing. Wireless is last, actually. Okay. So, next up, remember, we're filtering. We're taking all the folks out on LinkedIn out there. We want to just get the ones we want the most right here. Just give me the best ones, right? Okay. Next up is going to be location. It matters where people are. Maybe it matters less where people are than it used to be. I believe it used to just be Denver or nothing, right? Or Colorado or nothing. And now it's, what, California, and we'll do work anywhere, almost. Almost anywhere. Okay. So, let's take a look here. This is still LinkedIn.com. We can pick United States. Okay. That might be good. That might be a good filter, but you miss Canada. You did Canada, right? Did you take Canadian dollars? Okay. You wouldn't necessarily target Canada unless you were really going to do it, right? That's a whole separate thing. But so let's say United States works. So you could say Denver. Okay. Notice we got country, city. We can even pick multiple. We can stack up Colorado this way. But we can't, with LinkedIn.com, pick Colorado. We can't pick zip codes. Okay, you got Sales Navigator, you got that covered. But this is where LinkedIn.com misses out. And these are features that were taken away. They were there. And then they weren't there. Okay. So we're gonna look at our persona here, our ideal client here. We're gonna look at them a couple different ways. First of all, we're gonna look at them from the menus, okay? The search menus. We're gonna put our bets and our sizes and our words and our numbers and our checkboxes and all that sort of stuff, all right? The factual stuff. Then we're gonna get a little bit of analog. Now, with 12,000 connections, you can do things that you can't do with 500. So with 12,000 connections, Brad can say, let's put the word golf in here and see what we find. And we could send a note that says, are you got your clubs out? How's your golf game? Kind of thing. Get in on the soft side of IT managers who are just our perfect kind of people, but they also have the word golf. Okay. In my case, I look for concerts, festivals, music, guitar, bands. I got my string of stuff I use. Okay, so we take that, we're going to slap it down into LinkedIn. Okay, so in the case here where we're just doing .com here, so you see how our bets lay out, right? Here, keywords up here. Okay, it doesn't say keywords, but now you know it is, right? Now you know it is, right? Okay, so you lay that out, and we get our list of results. Now, let's do that one more time. Okay, all right, and this is what we get. These are my 40 IoT folks in Denver after that criteria. Anyone know these folks? They're usually, I try to do a city where someone lives, where someone says, do you know any of these folks? Okay? All right, so let's talk about what works and what doesn't work with LinkedIn.com. Okay, some things work good and some things don't, okay? So, where you see red, don't work so well. All right. The reasons are, you'll see in a moment, that there's another company field and there's another school field. So we're gonna use the other ones, not these. Okay. We're gonna use the better ones. All right. Okay. These other fields just don't come into play. Okay. But the ones that don't come into play a lot, the ones that you don't see there. Okay. So if we're doing companies, we want to do companies from the drop-down list, because we might discover there's a bunch of charters. We want to pick what charter, as opposed to just give me anyone whose name is charter in there anywhere. If I want to go for charter communications, I got to get it exactly spelled right and all that stuff, or I can use the field that drops down. Sales Navigator has drop down. Okay, this is a feature they both have.
Can you only use one though? Like you could use.
No, you could pick multiple companies, like CenturyLink. You know, when I go after CenturyLink, they're a target of mine. There's like 8 CenturyLinks. I just check, and then I find one that's no way. CenturyLink India is not one that I need, so I skip that one and I go to another one. Okay. Okay. So schools are kind of the same way. So anyone know Don Kufal? Anyone? He's famous here in town. No? He's a charter. He's my old boss. All right, I'll tell him nobody know him there. I'll tell him that. You can actually look at the connections of other people. Okay. I'm not going to teach this here because this is a deep dive. But if Brad doesn't have his settings set right, he does because we set them. Okay, he didn't before, but now he does. We could go farm his network and say, I just want to apply all these search criteria just to those 12,000 people that Brad's got because we're giving a special Brad spiff this month. If you take away a client from Statera, you get an extra grand. So someone's going to say, oh, I know where to go there, right? Okay, so that's kind of how this works here. I'm not going to teach you, but this is a really cool thing here. It's a little bit cruel, okay? A little bit cruel.
So
right.
One thing I struggle with again is that if I ran this search, I'm going to run a ton of people that I don't know that well. I mean, should I just be pruning those out? I know we said keep a bunch over 500, but how does it help me to be connected to somebody I don't even remember? I mean,
How does it hurt you? Think about how does it hurt you?
it's going to screw up this search. If I put second or first, it's going to give me those people, and they're really not connected.
Well, the more that you can be picky when you're connecting with people, the better. Absolutely, okay? But
You can ask for an introduction, right? Because if you're a second, whoever the first is that you have, somebody you can reach out to.
Well, I'm saying if I don't know the first, that's my problem, because I connected to this guy. And so I brought up a second contact that really is worthless to me, because I don't know his name.
it gets really troublesome when you get near 30,000 connections. But come talk to me about that, and I'll help you there. I helped Jeffrey Pearl here. He's got 2,000 people waiting to connect to him, and I taught him how to accept and how to weed through folks and how to get folks out. I said, first of all, look for unemployed. Or whatever word you want to have, retired, those sort of things, kick those folks out first. But it takes 45 seconds per person to kick someone out of your network. It's kind of hard. I'm going to go into Sales Navigator now, okay? So now, you get more. I usually play the video here, but I didn't know what kind of audio we had, right? They're doing that little thing, right? He didn't start out this way, remember? You know that one?
How do we get both?
Who does not know this commercial? I just assumed everyone knew this commercial. They play it all the time in Minnesota. Okay, so you get more. Well, what do you mean by more, right? All right, so 11 filters. We talked about that. We get 29. Okay, LinkedIn used to have 20. They trimmed it back when they went with this new interface. So let's talk about what you get. Let's talk about what more means, okay? You tell me if these things, I'm usually pitching folks to upgrade to Sales Navigator in the audience. Okay, my audience is out full. Someone who's not on Sales Navigator who wants to be is a really good person for me because they're a coaching client for me. I could like a program for you, all right? We're gonna coach. All right, this one here, all right? Past current. You used to be able to do this in LinkedIn.com, not anymore. It's only in Sales Navigator, okay? The default now, though, is current, okay? The default used to be both, and the default now is current, okay? They fixed that bug. It used to be if you were the president of a technology company 10 years ago, and the company went out of business or so, and or maybe they're still around, but you're not there anymore. And now you're flipping burgers over at Wendy's. And it says you left that company 5 years ago. LinkedIn.com would have said, guess what, you're still a CEO. Because past and current didn't matter. They threw it all together. And they just fixed it, okay? So that just in the last few weeks, all right? I had to fix the slide for that one, because I had some slides talking about how ridiculous that was, right? The seniority level piece is kind of nice. Okay, you don't get this in LinkedIn.com, and I generally call at manager up. That's me. I'm calling sales managers. I'm calling on Brents. Okay, but there may be other spots out here. This groups things together, and you cannot single out the owner of the company. So we can't use this with many of my clients because they can only have CEO. I hope I don't hurt your TV. Other people are going to come hit it. It's not just me. All right. But this is a way to do it without using job titles. Okay? You'd use this I try not to hit it as hard. So you'd use job titles or you'd use seniority level, but not both. Okay? That big long string of ors and ands and stuff, that doesn't really apply so much into here. You'd use one or the other. Okay? Another one, this is big. We're going to get into geography now. If you remember, if you're going for the whole world, great. They both got it covered, LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. If you're going for a country, they both got it covered. You can say United States in either one. Okay? If you're going for a city, got it covered. Got it covered. There's Denver, right? But that's where it drops off a little bit. Okay, so if you're in San Francisco, the difference between north and south means something. You guys know that. There. Actually, in Denver, it means something here too, doesn't it now? The traffic and stuff, right? Boy, it really means something if you're in Thornton versus in where we were. Yeah, Highlands Ranch. I lived in the ranch when I was here. Yeah, things have really changed in the last 5 years. All right, this is only in Sales Navigator. Okay, it's going to used to be a feature we all loved. All right. On the other hand, if you want to go state by state, and I'm gonna say this is a feature you're going to use a lot if you're going to do the systematic LinkedIn campaigns, okay? Because you might say, oh, we're going to do Iowa, and then we're going to do, I want this point, we're going to do Wisconsin, and we'll do Illinois. This is a great way to segment our campaigns this week, next week, next week, next week. It works really well. You don't miss anybody. Anyone in Minnesota. We've got Duluth in Minnesota where I'm at. We got Minneapolis, St. Paul, and a couple little cities here and there. You could pick all the cities you could name, and you'd still miss a lot of people in Minnesota if you didn't have this Minnesota filter. It's only in Sales Navigator. There's a small, medium, large principle with our targets. Small, medium, large. Maybe we work on big companies. Where does this come from? So I'm searching companies that have 500 to 1,000. 500.
The number of employees you have in LinkedIn.
Where does this officially come? You know, they're bracketed. It doesn't say 37, 38. It says round numbers.
From when they post their company thing on their company page?
Yes, $20 right there. It comes from the company page of any employer who is listed as dash present. Okay, not ended in 2018, but dash present, has no end date. Okay, so this is where some of our searches deliver some really funky stuff, especially in the world I'm in with these smaller peer board people. Some folks, own a company, own 4 companies. Could you imagine that? They own 4 companies, or let's just say 2 to keep it simple. All right, they own 2 companies, and one of them has 10 to 50 employees. The other one has 50 to 200 employees. They're going to get caught in 2 searches. So remember when I said that there were searches that were granular where you hit everyone like the industry? You won't hit them twice. You can only have one industry. But you can have 2 company sizes here. So beware of this just a little bit if you're dealing with smaller companies. It does not apply to the big companies. But someone who manages the CenturyLink company page might have put in, 5 to 10,000, and someone who manages another one might put 10,000 plus, and you catch them twice. Just beware. People don't like to get messages from you twice. Okay? That just kind of upsets some people. You already sent me this message. Fortunately, you can't invite somebody twice.
Sorry, quick question. I may have missed this. The company information, general information like headcount, is that data owned by Microsoft that's populating account data, or is that?
That data is entered in a drop-down box by the person that creates and manages the LinkedIn company page, which could very well be a 21-year-old intern who did that stuff and doesn't even know how many employees are at the company. It's fixed one time. It's never looked at again. It's not particularly accurate, other than if you're thinking about it's relatively accurate. 10 to 50, 100 plus. It's not 10,000. Okay, you go up or down one. I always kind of say go up or down one when you're searching for what you're at, because they might have rounded up or rounded down. Okay. All right, so here we go. Years of experience. This is a new one. Pretty good, huh? I like this one. I use this one. What you'll find out is that 90% of the people on LinkedIn fall into one category. This is not a $20 prize for this one. Which one do they fall into?
Less than a year.
No. 9 out of 10 people on LinkedIn fall into 10 plus. Trust me, I have reverse engineered every single search. I know what the codes are that go in. I'm going to show you some stuff here, the ampersands and percent 2020s and stuff, about how this kind of works. So we've gone this every which way. We've tried it this, tried it that way to see what affects and what doesn't. All right. But if you want to eliminate millennials and stuff, 6 plus. This is generally what I use for folks now. I go to 6 plus. Okay. There's a whole lot more. This is what your screen looks like. There's a whole lot more. I'm only going to go over the serious stuff where I have strategy to show you and stuff. There's some stuff here that doesn't work so well, some stuff that does. So when you create one of these searches by placing all of your little bets and your sizes and your Boolean and all that, all right? When you do that, the URL at the top just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, it just goes, it's huge, 300, 400 characters sometimes. You click on it, it all highlights. You don't have to go to the end to highlight it. Go Control A, you just click it up at the top. Control C, Control V, all right? So we're going to save it because we want to run it later. We might want to run it later and maybe make a couple changes. Let's change it from 1,000 plus employees to 500 to 1,000 employees and rerun it and see how it goes, right? We might change it, we might create a list and stuff. It saves a lot of time. And the reason I say that is these searches in Sales Navigator and LinkedIn.com, when you press a box, you got to wait for the screen to redraw. Maybe 5 or 8 seconds. Press another box. I mean, think about what it's doing, right? We're checking a box and it's saying, go to those 500 million people out there, 500 million people, and filter them for me on this extra little thing and bring that back to me right now. This isn't tomorrow's report. When I started doing this, that's tomorrow's report. I'll have it for you in the morning. We'll put it in the queue. But now we get it back in 5 or 8 seconds, just like that. Okay? But we've got like 10 or 12 criteria, so I had 5 or 8 seconds and 5 or 8 seconds, and you see why you want to be able to do something like, here's our search at the top, right? Boom, 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 boom. This one out here, I could wrap the room. Go all the way around the edge and come all the way back with some of the ones that we do here, especially with not commands. See, it says not retired. Okay? This is a city. Okay? You don't need to know this. We do. I code this stuff. I'm a one line. This is like a config sys file for me as an engineer. It's like, whoa, we go really far with it. Okay? But save this somewhere. All right? And I suggest when you save it, you do not save it as a clickable link. I showed it in blue here because I wanted you to see it, but I would unclick that because you might make a change or so. If I change the word internet to telephone right here, okay, I changed internet to telephone right here, and I went and ran it, I'd still have internet people. Because all I'm doing is changing the label. I'm not changing the link. The link is behind it. This is just a label. But if we make it a non-clickable link, now it's not. Okay, so that's one of the best little tips I'll probably share with you when you get into this really granular stuff.
If you do a spreadsheet, do you literally try and title it, column to the left, and have the linkage to the right, so you know?
Yeah, you might do that. I'll show you. You get into spreadsheets where you put stuff in columns and stuff like that. But at least for a search, at least, a doc seems to work better. You can see it in a paragraph format. Okay, when you can't see the whole search sometimes, and it really doesn't matter sort of what order, but don't change order. And when you get done running your stuff, well, I'll kind of get into campaigns a little bit. We talk about running our stuff because we're gonna, we might send a bunch of stuff and then we'll grab it there. We got another day, we'll grab it here and keep putting it back and overwriting what we have because our next action changes each time. Our starting point is different each time. Okay. So we're going to kind of go back and forth between companies and people because I know that the company part is really important for us here. So in our company first approach, we're looking for logos. Okay, we're looking for companies. So here we go. This is still LinkedIn.com. Okay, we'll show you what we can do with Snav in a moment. The nerdery. Anyone heard of the nerdery? Write that one down. Take a peek at the nerdery. They do cool stuff like you do. Not quite in your category, but they're close. They got a cool name. Minneapolis, the nerdery. Minneapolis and Chicago. Now, there's only one company called the nerdery. Remember, this is our general field out here. There's no one whose first name is the and last name is nerdery. No one has that name. Or they would appear here, because this would find names, groups, companies, anything you like. All right. So there's the nerdery. 418 employees, 18 connections, Bloomington. They do really cool stuff. Okay. Brad's looking at the nerdery.com right now, and he should. Okay. Cool folks. There's an O'Neill executive there. That's how I got involved. I kept dropping the name O'Neill. It's not even spelled the same way, but you drop the name of, you drop the word, waiter at the company. You get anywhere. I open doors for you everywhere. Okay, so that's kind of what happened here. So let's get a little bit more, but let's dive down a little bit more though. Looking for companies. All right. So remember, we're not doing this. Oops. But we got our drop down. Remember which ones we like the most. Okay. So as we do it, I was typing in the nerdery, and we see just one drop down. That's the key point here, because the next one will not have one drop down. We're going to pick it, and there we go. CenturyLink, on the other hand, here's my example. Right, and I might not want CenturyLink India, but I'll take the others. Okay, and employees out there, when you put a job on your profile, you pick from a drop-down list. If you put another job on your profile and pick a different quest, you could have, or CenturyLink, you could literally have someone in CenturyLink a bunch of times because they picked at different times. There's a lot of little weird things that can kind of happen. Okay, so here's the nerdery, here's our search nerdery, and there's Tom O'Neill. See, Tom O'Neill right there. All right, so when we get into SNAV though in companies, it's a little bit different. And I told you there's a great thing here called annual revenue, and it's just not great. It's just not populated. Okay, head counts, these things, this part, but there is a head count right here. Okay, so in Sales Navigator, when we're searching for companies, this head count, keywords, graphics industry, these are ones I highlighted before. Those work out pretty well. Under technologies used would be great if we knew they were Salesforce shop or so, but this is not populated. Okay, you got your 1s, 2s, and 3s if you want to take a shot there. This is not used much. It's not used much. All right. So I was an outside sales rep, and I became a sales engineer instead. Outside sales rep, 60 grand base, another 60 grand a quota. This is 30 years ago, okay, 20 years ago. Old dollars, right? We'll pay a little more money for sales reps nowadays, right? But before I went anywhere, I was really good at doing my research. I wanted to know who might be in the building, what products they made, who they marketed to. It was one of the things that I did that was kind of special compared to what some other people did. And if I had LinkedIn as a tool back then, I'd be killing it knowing the people and where they were from and whether they were Hawkeyes or Sun Devils or whatever it was. I'm going to kind of show you how to do some research now before you're going to pick up the phone and call someone. This applies whether you're whether you're sales, recruiting, kind of whatever. Before you're going to call someone, let's find out a little bit about them. All right. So we'll look at the top. Here's Jeffrey Pearl. Anyone know Jeffrey? Did I ask that before? Pretty cool guy, right? One of the coolest guys I know. What can I say? Good buddy of mine. So we did a workshop like this for Jeffrey Pearl 3 weeks ago. That's what kind of kicked this off a little bit. This headline area here is extremely important to look at. Okay, this is what they're espousing about now. Okay, they may down here be talking about something else, but if they're talking about it here, what you got on your marquee, what you got painted on your forehead is what you are. It may be your wallet says something else. So this overrides anything else. If it says other stuff down here, but up here it says something, this generally is going to override it. Okay, then to see more. Okay, to see the full profile and stuff, you kind of want to go. This is what you want to see. You want to see the headline. You want to click see more and see the profile. See the rest of the summary there. You want to look and see what mutual connections you might have. Got someone in common. That doesn't mean you both know them. It's just an indicator. Okay, it's just a data point. Okay, it doesn't say I'm gonna 2,100 people. We're gonna go down my list of names and see who we really know. We're not gonna do that. But it's a good data point, and it's kind of, that's a big number. You might find you got 5 or 10. Okay, and you can name drop in that category a little bit. Say, do you really know? Do you really know Gary Held? Really? I haven't heard from Gary in 15 years. You really know Gary? He runs CCTI or whatever. Okay, so see what they're talking about. The articles. If you can say, read your article. Oh, saw that post. I see you like whatever. These are things to work into the conversation. Instead of, well, I see your company uses computers. We should talk. Okay. I read your partnership article, and I see you use computers. We should talk. It's the same thing with just something on top of it that we learn from this here before our call, before our conversation. Okay, so we're going to click, boom, right there. We're going to go look at the company page. Now, OTG no longer has this there because I put a nice picture up there for them, I believe. Okay, we got 22 employees. We should go look at those employees. We should look at all this data. This is the most current stuff. We should look at what the company's got going on. Let's see those folks. Okay. Let's see who other decision makers are there. Who I want to bring up in a conversation. I might, let's see. Well, I don't show any other executives here, but I might name drop. If I was about to talk to Jeffrey Pearl, I might say, well, what about Brian Belanger? Is he still with you? What's Brian up to? So I see you got some VPs over here. Tell me about him. It brings up conversations. At 22 people, there's probably someone else over there other than one person we can talk to. I want to look at the website. Absolutely. And the website's on the company page. So you go from the profile to the company page, from the company page to the website, and then you go back in the browser. It's a nice serial little thing. You go on this little thing, you go back up to here, and then I dial the phone and I call, or I get in my car and I go. Just straight up and straight down. Right. So yeah, right there on the site. Okay, so we go to the company page. We might look at other stuff. You always look at a website before you visit with somebody, don't you? I mean, if you don't, you find out something you didn't want to find out. Like, oh, they're no longer doing plastics. I was talking about plastics in the meeting, and if I'd gone to the website, I'd found out that they're just doing aluminum now. I won't say that's a real example, but it's based on one. Okay.